Good day, everyone. Our topic is justice and fairness, promoting the common good. So, introduction. Who is John Rawls? John Rawls is one of the important political philosophers during 20th century. He received academic training at Princeton University, and his latter part of his career is philosophy professor at Harvard University. His main work is a theory of justice, published in 1971. This work has addressed some of the social issues, especially in the name of justice between the state and the citizen and among the citizens. He proposed justice as fairness as an ethical framework. This framework focused on how justice should be distributed, that fairness for those who have more and those who have less. And the term fairness, it refers not to equality but as equity. So there are different definitions of justice. John Rawls, he understands justice where there is fairness among members of the society with the goal of promoting their common good. He embraces not only sociological dimension but includes political and socio-economic as well. Whereas Plato defines justice as harmony, where there are three groups of people in the society working together for a common goal. Rawls speaks fairness in terms of equality and equity. He acknowledged that there are certain just distributions that are governed by existing principles. The first principle is principle of equality. In this principle, Rawls claims that every member of the society should have equal rights and liberties. The second principle is called principle of difference. In this principle, Rawls acknowledges that there cannot be just distribution in the society in terms of socio-economic goods. Next slide. We want to treat others justly, and we want others to treat us exactly the same way. Rawls' justice is very much emphasized in taking into consideration the interest of every member of the society. Foundation of social order. Just like any political philosopher, he considered order as first thing first. He talked about social order where there are rules and sanctions that put social affairs into places. He underscored that rules in social order should be construed as our moral obligation to obey. Rules are there for us to obey and follow for the sake of social order. Due to the bill of ignorance, it creates a just condition where there is no true advantage to anyone. Everyone is seen from the point of view of fairness. So, barometer of justice as fairness. See to it that the object of agreement is fair. That is, the social order takes into account the interest of all members of society equally. There are different theories of justice. The meaning of distributive justice is that everyone in the society has to share both the burden and the benefit of whatever the society offers. If one enjoys the benefits offered to them and one has to also accept the burden. Principle of distribution justice. First is egalitarian, and second is capitalist, and the last is socialist. So egalitarian. Egalitarian distributive justice. The egalitarianism theory of distributive justice emphasizes equality and equal treatment across gender, race, religion, economic status, and political beliefs. Egalitarianism may focus on income inequality and distribution of wealth in the development of various economic and political system and policy. There are two kinds of distributive justice under egalitarianism of state or governmental distribution. The first is political egalitarianism, where legal rights of every citizen are equally observed. The second is economic egalitarianism, where the distribution of socioeconomic goods is equally observed. The socio-economic goods refer to those basic necessities, primarily food, clothing, and shelter, that each citizen. From economic egalitarianism is the establishment of the minimum wage. Every employee is entitled to a just wage in terms of the lowest possible wage they can receive from doing legal works. So, capitalist distributive justice. As capitalist, one is concerned with a just distribution in terms of receiving one's share according to how much one contributes to the overall success of the goals of the institution where one is employed. So, for example, there are working students who share his experience being a library staff during his vacant time. He receives his salary allowance according to the number of hours rendered. Per hour, he is paid 20 pesos. If decide to be on duty for 4 hours, he receives 80 pesos. If 6 hours, 120 pesos. If 2 hours, 40 pesos. That is an example of distributive justice according to the mindset of the capitalist. Socialist distributive justice. One is concerned with a just distribution in terms of one's needs. We have various needs in life, and if we want to achieve those needs, we need to work hard according to the amount of needs we have. If one has greater needs, then one expects that his share is greater in the distribution scheme, and vice versa.
The state and citizen responsibilities to each other, the principle of taxation and exclusive growth. We all exist under a particular state like the Philippines, and the state has a power to collect taxes from the citizen. As a citizen, we all have the obligation to support its existence through monetary contribution. This power to tax the people together with the amount to collect it amended and improved by the legislative body that is composed of lawmakers and is executed by the executive branch. In addition, the reason why the state possesses such power is to let the people contribute monetarily in order to support the cost of government existence and its other projects for the betterment of the whole populace. Taxation is the inherent power of the sovereign exercised through the legislature to impose burdens upon subjects and objects within its jurisdiction for the purpose of raising revenues to carry out the legitimate objects of government. While the tax are the informed proportional contribution from person and property levied by the lawmaking body of the state by virtue of its sovereignty for the support of the government and all public needs. Taxation is a process by which government collect money from the individuals and businesses to fund public service and infrastructures. It can take various forms such as income taxes, sales taxes, and property taxes. While on the other hand, a tax is financial obligation imposed by the government on individuals or entities to fund public expenditures. It is typically calculated based on income, profits, and transactions, and the collected funds are used for public services, infrastructures, and other government functions. Here are the essential elements of a tax. First, it is enforced contribution, which signifies that it is compulsory on the part of a government and an obligation of a citizen. Second, is generally payable in money. And lastly, it is proportionate in character, which means it is largely based on the ability to pay principal. There are two purposes of taxation. First, revenue or fiscal. The primary purpose of the taxation on the part of the government is to provide funds or property with which to promote the general welfare and the protection of its citizen and to enable it to finance its multifarious activities without which the government cannot function. Ang revenue daw or fiscal ga-generate daw sila og incomes such as like taxes, fees, or other revenue generated activities. So also fiscal relates to financial matters, especially those concerning public funds or government revenue and expenditures. Second, non-revenue or regulatory. Taxation may also be employed for purposes of regulation or control. Regulatory refers to compliance with laws and rules set by the authorities governing a particular industry, ensuring businesses operate within legal boundaries. While the non-revenue, it refers to activities or items that don't generate income, while fiscal typically relates to financial matters, especially to the context of government budgets and expenditures. Benefit received principle. These principles serve as a basis of taxation and is founded in the reciprocal duties of protection and support between the state and its inhabitants, also called symbiotic relation between the state and its citizen in return for his contribution. The taxpayer receives the general advantage and protection which the government affords the taxpayer and his property. Here are the three basic principles of a sound system. First, fiscal adequacy. It means that the sources of revenue should be sufficient to meet the demands of public expenditure. Second, equality or theoretical justice. It means that the tax burden should be proportionate to the taxpayer's ability to pay. This is so-called ability to pay principle. And lastly, administrative feasibility. It means that the laws should be capable of convenient, just, and effective administration.